just gonna let that chord ring out at the beginning while the stream starts, man. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm driving with the top down, baby. Rain can't stop me. I'm high on black coffee, baby. Your blues won't rock me. I'm planting all the seed corn, baby. Storm crows can't stop me. I'm cranking up the bass and baby, and you can't drop me. Ooh, sugar pie. Ooh, sugar pie. I'm gonna let my hair grow, baby. My boss can't stop me. I'm gonna take a payday loan to fight the commies. I'm headed to the drugstore, baby. Don't call your mommy. I'm gonna skip the ice cream, baby, and eat pastrami. Ooh, sugar pie. Ooh, sugar pie. Ooh, sugar pie. You make me lose myself. 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 I'm gonna make some biscuits, baby. Gluten can't stop me. I'm gonna dodge my taxes, baby. The man will rob me. I'm gonna drink some Lysol, baby, to clean my body. I'm rocking out at midnight, baby. HOA can't stop me. Ooh, sugar pie. Ooh, sugar pie. Hey kids, nice to see you again. Let's check the chat. I like to start the streams with a song because it gets rid of the boring people. I still don't hear anything. Can you not hear anything? Can you really not hear anything? You guys okay? You've got sound, but the picture is lagging. That's pretty normal. I don't know what the deal is, but we've always got some draggy streams here. You know, I've got that kind of internet where the streams get draggy. Let me take a look here and see if I can lower the bit. Let me see here. Stream status, very good. Stream settings. It says that I've already got some. It's already lower than it should be. This is the way it goes around here, though, kids. This is the way it is. The stream's current bitrate is lower than the recommended bitrate. Okay, so how do I make it even lower than that? Let's see here. Let me see if I can. I'm gonna make the bitrate even worse. I'll make the bitrate even worse. Okay. Let's see what we got here. I'm gonna find out. Dropping them frames. Dropping all them frames. Let's see what we got here. Oh, yes. Let's see what's our bit rate. What's our bit rate? Forget that. We got too much bit rate. Let's go lower. Let's go really low. Okay. Audio bit rate. How's that, guys? Can you still see me? Am I less of a jerk? Probably not. I'm talking about the stream. Is the stream less jerky? I'm drinking black coffee. All right, kids. Yeah, this is one of the reasons that I quit. I got frustrated with the doing the streams for a while, and I dropped off because I was constantly having issues with the frame rate dropping and all that kind of stuff. So we can go pretty low. We could drop this thing down to like 8-bit. That would be pretty cool. So anyhow, I just came through here. I just came back inside. I just came back inside from planting some sugarcane. And I thought, hey, let's talk about sugarcane. And I had a realization, I guess, about 2 years ago. That realization was every time I do a video on making cane syrup or related to cane syrup, it does like 1/3 as well as the rest of my videos. I did the most beautiful video the other day. The most beautiful short film, 39 minutes. It actually was 14 hours of making cane syrup condensed down into a documentary. And it wasn't the normal sort of video where I'm like, hey guys, welcome back. I'm David the Good. This is my dog. Oh, look I got some plants. Here's my plants. Hi guys. Like and subscribe. No, it was like a real short film, like the Cannes Festival or something like that, you know. Like one of those dramatic short films where you got the long shots and the action and kind of the characters telling the story. It's a documentary on an ancient practice of the Florida Panhandle making syrup, and I called it Sweet Success, and I want it nominated for a film award. But anyhow, I did that video and it only got like 1/3 of my normal videos, but it's like 3 or 10 times better than my normal videos. So make sure you like and subscribe, and here's my dog. No, I'm just kidding. But anyhow, I really love cane syrup. And I'm not even a sugar type of a guy. Black coffee. Black coffee. I drink black coffee for breakfast. I have often steak or eggs or bacon or eggs and bacon or eggs and steak. I mean, when I can afford steak, it's not all the time. And sometimes it's been pork lately because we had pigs, so I might have a pork chop. Oh yeah, feels like an upgrade, like Elon Musk said. But I like to have protein for breakfast because it gets me rolling on work. But often with the protein, I will put in some greens from the garden. Moringa this morning. I put moringa in there and some rosemary from the garden, which is just great, right? So a little extra whatever nutrition. But I don't use sugar on hardly anything. My family is actually prone to becoming overweight. And the way I don't become overweight is that I don't eat a lot of sugar. I exceptionally rarely will drink a soda, and I don't like to drink an entire soda. The only time, I think the last time I had a soda was when I mixed some rum and Coke when I was somewhere. And then, it was only like a fraction of a soda. Probably more healthy rum than Coke. But anyhow, so I tried to avoid the sugar and a lot of the processed carbohydrates. I will eat carbohydrates from the garden. I do eat my cassava and my yams and my sweet potatoes and potatoes in the spring and that sort of thing, but not a massive amount. It's depending. If I could feel my genetics starting to creep up on me and make me heavy, I cut it back. So all that to say, sugar in general it's not one of my main go-to type staples or anything. But cane syrup is so delicious. It's so delicious, and I love the tradition of making it. I love the beauty of getting together with a group of people and spending hours watching a pot boil, right? A watch pot never boils. Or the watched pot boils forever at 212 before the temperature starts to climb into syrup territory. I love it. I love the whole thing. It's like kids and retirees. There was somebody there who was about to turn 90, and then there was a kid there that was about 4. Last time there was a brand new baby there, you know? And different families come and go through the course of the day, because everybody remembers it's cane boiling day, and different people just show up and pitch in and help as they can. Sometimes more people, sometimes less people. But the neighborhood, when they drive by and they see the cane boil going on, they're like, oh yeah, let's stop in and say hi, which is so cool. And then the syrup itself has such a wonderful flavor. I think there's overtones of caramel and sweet corn, a little bit of molasses. There's just a little bit of a green freshness to it, but then there's these candy flavors, and it's hard to describe. I guess it's similar to a good taffy or toffee, depending on what you want to call it. Almost a little butterscotchy. There's these little subtle nuances to it. It's not just sugar. It's so good. It is so good. I told my wife, I said I could drink a pint of this. I could just say goodbye to my pancreas and drink this entire pint. And she's like, no, you couldn't. And I said I could, but then I had a teaspoon of it. I was like, okay, that's enough. But I like to think that I could drink a pint of cane syrup, but I probably couldn't. That would be it. No more pancreas. The pancreas is a very important organ, right? You remember that song? Was it Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young? Treat your pancreas well, and don't you know the insulin will come back? Treat your pancreas well, let it know it. So how's it go? Let it know you love it. Something like that. You guys remember that song? The pancreas song by Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young? So you got to treat your pancreas well. But the entire experience of making the syrup and making something that is shelf stable from this juice. Cane juice is so ephemeral. Ephemeral means that it passes by quickly. Like cane juice, when you grind cane juice, it will either sour or ferment or both within a very short period of time after making it, unless you freeze it or chill it quickly. There are yeasts in the air that will rapidly start to ferment it. So, you've got to do something with it. You've either got to drink it or ferment it or make a cane vinegar, or you're going to cook it down until the sugar content is high enough and the moisture content has lowered, the water content is lowered, until it's a strong enough sugar solution that bacteria and fungi can no longer function inside of it. And the yeasts are not going to convert it, and it's not going to spoil, and then you can keep it for years. Marcus was saying he had cane syrup he'd been there for 5 years, and it hadn't crystallized on the bottom. But even if it does crystallize, that's okay. You could still warm it up and melt it down again, So, it's just a cool thing. I don't know. I love the entirety of it. So I go ahead and show these cane videos and document it because I love it. Not necessarily because it's going to get a lot of views. I would love it to get a lot of views. I think it was a beautiful film. I think it's only got 2,700 views or something like that. I think it's a sort of film that should have 270,000 views because it's such a beautiful little piece of old Southern culture with the stories in the background and how this mill works, how you crush the cane, the difficulties of getting it to work with breaking multiple posts and rednecking it back together again, and then Marcus's wisdom on how syrup is made. I love that sort of thing. But I figured today let's talk a little bit about raising sugarcane and where you can raise it
and how to raise it if you want to make your own cane syrup, or if you want to make your own sugar, which is possible as well, or if you want to make your own rum, but definitely not in violation of any applicable laws. If you live offshore, or if you are on a cruise ship and you want to make your own rum in international waters, yeah, cane is the way you do that. Cane is the way you do that. So, growing sugarcane. Sugarcane is easy to grow. Zone 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way to the equator, sugarcane is easy to grow. You're going to have to mulch over it pretty well in a zone 7, but it should still return from the ground there, and it is a perennial. So people have asked, why don't you just grow sorghum instead? Well, cane tastes excellent. Somebody said, well, sorghum's easier. Well, sorghum is not easier here. Sorghum, being an annual, means that I have to till an area up and plant it and raise it and harvest it at the very right time when the canes are at their peak, etc. And sugarcane, I can plant it like I did today. You'll see the video shortly, probably tomorrow. I can plant cane and then have a patch of cane that lasts me 7, 8, 9, 10 years or more. It'll come back from the basis and grow back again. So that is super easy. You know how I love those perennial crops. So I've got cane growing in big bunches all around the edges and through parts of the center of my food forest, and I just expanded and added probably another, let me say maybe 1,000 square feet of cane, something like that. And I mixed in some green ones and some red ones and some that were red and green, and just threw them all in there. It's gonna be beautiful. Beautiful rows of cane. And this time, instead of digging it by hand, I dug it with a bobcat. Digging a cane bed with a bobcat may not be the most efficient use of diesel, but it's much more entertaining and much easier on the abdominal muscles and on the hands. I mean, I've got pretty good calluses on my hands, as you could probably see, but that's a lot of digging. And I used to do all of my cane by hand, but I was able to buy a bobcat a year ago, a 25-year-old bobcat that looks pretty beat up, but it runs like a boss, and I got a really good deal on it. So that has been a major labor saver when we're moving around mulch and turning compost and putting in fences and things like that. Very useful. So, but on a small backyard scale, really almost this is the first time I ever planted it with a bobcat. I always did digging. I always just dug trenches and dropped the canes into it. And if it was really, like, if you really had the right setup, you could take a tractor and use one of those row makers and throw up mounds and just put the cane down the mounds and then cover it back over with a tractor. You could probably do acres that way in a day, whereas it took me, it probably took me 3 hours or more to plant that 1,000 square feet, even with a bobcat. And I mean, if I was infinitely strong, I could probably dig as fast as that bobcat could if I didn't get tired. Let's say not infinitely strong, because if I was infinitely strong, I could just dig like right into the center of the earth. But if I had the stamina to just continue digging with a grub hoe and just chop, 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 and just keep going down the rows, that would have been ideal. But I don't. I can't do that for a super long period of time. So I use the bobcat instead. But I'm actually faster digging that way than the bobcat is, but I tire out fast. So, you know, a couple of rows and I would have been like, okay, I think I'm done for today. And then the other time sink when you're planting cane is that you've got to have the old cane and you've got to cut it up. So I'm cutting cane from last year's. I spent a lot of money online to get cuttings of a couple of different varieties and then propagated them up. You can see my video where I propagate them from individual nodes, from 2 nodes, and from 3 nodes. If one of you guys that is a moderator can find that multiple propagation methods tested of sugarcane and drop it in the chat. That would be awesome. If you can find it, I think it should be on my channel somewhere under sugarcane. But I propagated them, and I found out you could propagate them from single nodes. So let's say you spent $40 getting cane cuttings on eBay or Etsy or something like that. If they have 3 or 4 nodes each, that means you could get 3 or 4 plants out of each one. So you take those nodes and sprout them carefully in the greenhouse. I wouldn't just throw them in trenches like I'm doing with mine. I would start them in the greenhouse like I show you in the video, and or start them on your porch or someplace warm. If you're in the tropics, it doesn't matter, But go ahead and start them, and then you'll get 3 or 4 plants, and then you should get a few decent canes out of each of those. Each one of those canes might give you 10, 12 nodes. So you might go from 3 or 4 canes you spent $40 for to 20 canes the next year, right? And then from there you're looking at like 240 canes or something like that if you just keep doing the single node thing. Because I have so much cane available now, because I've been planting it for 2 years, I can afford to cut through all of the clumps that I have and just lay them in the ground and know that 1 or 2 nodes might sprout out of the 3 or 4 that I bury in the ground, and that some of the pieces are not gonna go, So if you've got the cane available, the way they usually plant it commercially that I've seen is to dig trenches, lay those pieces of cane overlapping somewhat all the way down, all the way down, and then they're about 3 or 4 feet apart in rows, and then you just cover that up with 4 to 6 inches of soil. If it's gonna really get cold in your area, throw some mulch over the top of it too, just to trap the warmth in from the ground. But if your ground doesn't freeze to 4 to 6 inches deep, you don't really have to worry about it. It's gonna come back. It freezes over the top of the ground. I lay these canes in the ground. They sleep through the winter. They come up in the spring. Sometimes they come up a little bit in the spring and they freeze down, and then they come up again. But I always get cane the next year, so it's really not that hard. And you can do that. You can just put them in the ground and just let them sleep. And this is the time of year you do it, because this is the time of year that cane starts appearing at farmers markets, oriental markets, etc. International markets are a great place to get sugarcane. I've gotten them from a Chinese market. I have gotten them from Caribbean market, from an Indian market. I have gotten them at roadside farm stands in north central Florida. I got them at a Pioneer Day sort of a thing where they were showing how to do cane. You just have to get out and about and look for them. Particularly if you're along the Gulf Coast, it's pretty easy. If you're in the center of the state of Florida, it's pretty easy. If you're in lower Louisiana, lower Alabama, lower Mississippi, you will see cane. If you're out of that range, it gets a little harder to find it, and you may be stuck buying some expensive cane online on Etsy or eBay or something, and then dividing it up and starting nodes and then growing out your own. So 6 inches deep, planted about 3 feet apart in rows, or you could do the wagon wheel thing where you put a circle of them. I've got another video on the wagon wheel method, so that is not a big deal to do. That's a really easy way to do it, especially if you're in a little backyard. I got that from Deep South Homestead. They gave me the idea. I tried it. I liked it. I've done it for a couple of years. It makes a nice little bunch of cane all sticking up out of one hole. So they lay the pieces out like a wagon wheel, and then they just come out in a big tuft, and they will stay put. You can cut them down and they grow back. So thank you very much. These are some of the cane videos that are here, so if you want to watch those, go ahead and pull them up and bookmark them. You can watch them later after the stream, or if I start to bore you, you just go through those instead. It doesn't really matter. So once you have them planted, now the next year you're just generally going to let them grow. They pretty much outgrow most of the weeds. They are pretty vigorous plants, and by the time you get to October, November, you can just start cutting canes and using them, but you don't want them to freeze. If the canes freeze, they are just going to be destroyed, right? They will spoil quickly, and you're not going to get anything out of them. So you've got to cut them and either plant them to get more, or grind them down and make syrup out of them, or just enjoy them fresh. If you're on a backyard scale and you just have a few cane plants, they're really nice to just chop up and peel the canes and chew them and just chew the sugar out of them. It's a great thing. Kids love it. Your friends will love it. People that have never tried cane before, it's like people's eyes brighten up and they're like, whoa, this tastes really good. It's really good. It's better than just plain sugar. There's really a nice flavor. So, you've got some options here. As for juicing them, that's where it gets difficult. Now, I, in the past, did not have a way to juice them. I experimented around. I've seen videos from overseas, I'm not sure which country, where they had a log over another log, and they had a guy jumping on this log that was on a hinge, and underneath it they had a piece of galvanized metal roofing that was pointed down into a bucket, and every time that log bounced, there was a guy that was just slowly pushing a cane into the point where the two logs were intersecting. Smash, 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 like that. And the juice is falling down, and he's just pushing it through there carefully and smashing the cane. It takes a lot of crushing pressure to crush cane, and you have to have a friend that's willing to just keep jumping, which that's a good way to determine if a friend is really going to be your friend. Will you jump on this log for the next 3 hours while I crush cane? Are you my friend? Are you my real friend? Let's make some sweet syrup together, right? So anyhow, that's how you do it. If you're overseas, you have to find some way to crush it. I tried putting it through a Champion juicer, and the Champion juicer choked on it. The fibers inside of sugarcane are very woody, and they just choked up the mechanism quite rapidly. And the Champion juicer is a very good juicer. I have this old 1/4 horsepower Champion juicer, one of those indestructible ones from the 70s, and it couldn't handle sugarcane. So that's it. Couldn't do it. So my wife had this idea, let's chop them up. Let's chop them up and boil the sugar out of them. So we washed the canes really well, scrubbed off any mold, mildew, etc., and chopped them all into little chunks, filled this great big pot, and put water over them, and then boiled them until the water turned sweet. Then we strained that water out, and we boiled that water down until we got maybe a couple of pints of syrup, and it was totally delicious. And it worked, but it was pretty time consuming. Now, interestingly, I thought that my wife had come up with this idea, and then somebody was visiting us, and she said she remembered her grandmother chopping up cane and boiling the sugar out of it and then making syrup out of it. So, there's nothing new under the sun. It's not like we're really brilliant. It was just, hey, you know how osmosis works, right? So if we could get the sugary water to go to the place where there is less sugar, that is the regular water, maybe the sugar could be pulled out and it will equalize. And so it sure did. It worked. We ended up with pretty sweet water, which we then boiled down into syrup. And that is in my wife's little cookbook on how we did that and how we used it. There's a good bit on sugarcane in the Florida Food Forest cookbook that my wife put out a month ago. So it's quite possible to use it like that or just enjoy it fresh. But if you're on a larger scale, you're either going to want to get a motorized juicer, or you get an old-fashioned one like Marcus uses, which was made to be turned by a mule, but you can also turn it yourself. You can just walk around in a circle, or you can have your kids walk around in a circle, or you can have your wife walk around in a circle, or you can have your cow walk around in a circle, or you can take your riding lawnmower or something and drive it around in a circle. Now, riding lawnmower, ATV, whatever you've got that can just keep driving in a circle and use all the leverage of a very long lever to apply tons and tons of pressure to crush the cane and extract the sugar. You get that sugar water out of there. That is a really efficient way to do it, much more efficient than boiling it and then boiling it again. So if you can get a hold of that cane juice, then you can freeze some of the cane juice to enjoy later, and get a little of the flavor of summer later in the year if you want to, or you can boil it down into syrup and have it be shelf stable and you don't have to freeze it. That's the most difficult part about having the cane. Growing it is actually easy, but processing it into syrup takes effort, as you can see from the Sweet Success film that I posted on Saturday night. So, cane in your backyard, that's pretty much what you need to know. Zone 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 to the equator. It's easy to grow. It comes back year after year. You just cut the canes before it freezes, mulch over the top of where you have it, and then from there, it's just going to keep coming back. Every spring comes back. And another question that I've gotten asked about it is, okay, well, it looks like bamboo. Does it spread? Is cane invasive? And the answer is no. Sugarcane is not invasive. It will fall over sometimes, and occasionally it roots a little bit out of those stems that fall on the ground, but it is nothing like an invasive. It stays put very nicely. It just tends to fall over sometimes, but it barely grows. It's not like it's just going to keep growing and spreading across your yard. It stays put, and then when you get a frost, it kills everything above ground anyways, and it just comes back from the base year after year. You know, it's not a difficult plant to grow, and it's definitely not difficult to contain. It stays where you put it, unlike most of the plants that I grow. So I'm gonna take some questions now. That was what I wanted to tell you on cane, how easy it is, and I thought, you know, I really enjoyed putting that little film together, and I have really enjoyed growing cane, and since I was just planting a big bed of it, which you'll see the video of that coming up soon, I thought, well, let's talk about cane. So let's see what we got here. Those calluses say Taylor on them. That's funny. Ban Hatless Duck says, plot twist, David develops a insanely high sugar content landrace sugarcane called Pancreas Killer. Pancreas Killer. I know that, you know, Louisiana, they make these hybrid varieties. They bred hybrid varieties, probably in Florida too, because there's a big cane industry there. They want the highest amount of sugar for less moisture. Some of the old varieties of cane, there's varieties that are called chewing cane, which are very crushable fibers. You can crush them in your teeth or in your hand very easily. But some of the varieties, like I have a hybrid green stemmed variety from Louisiana, and it is exceptionally hard, and it's very sweet. Super sweet, but it's a super hard cane. Like, you're hurt your teeth chewing on it. I also have a red variety called Blue Ribbon Cane, which is an old southern type. I'm trying to get a variety called Georgia Red, which I heard about. It's supposed to be a nice chewing cane variety that makes very large, thick canes, and I have not been able to get that yet. I'm hunting for it. If you know where there is some, I'd love to get some. There are black varieties of cane. There's a variety that I saw that is almost totally white in front of the Westerhall Rum Distillery on the beautiful island of Grenada. They have a couple of clumps of it, and it is like ghostly. It's almost this white, the cane. Really cool looking. Not quite that white, but close. There are striped varieties of cane that are more yellow and red and different colors. And there's some that do like the Buddha's belly, where they kind of bulge in between the nodes. There's some types that have nodes that are very close together, and then there's some that have nodes that are further apart. There's a lot of different varieties of cane. Now the problem with breeding or making a landrace cane is that it's got to actually have enough time to go to seed, and we don't have that here. So maybe in the tropics it would go to seed, and some varieties just don't want to go to seed. So you'd have to have it go to seed and cross it with another variety and then plant the seeds and start them. So all the canes that I have are just clones of existing varieties. So the Black Heels said, loving the new office decor. Looks awesome. Thank you. And when are you going to submit the cane video to a film festival? Tell me how we do that. Let's do that. That's a good idea. It's actually a satirical film about one man's struggle to enjoy the good life in the deep south. I don't know. So, hey QRP Life, nice to see you, man. I actually, my stream, people are asking what I have. Do I have Starlink or HughesNet? No, I am using T-Mobile. I have a T-Mobile cell phone plan that I run my computer on. It's, you know, that's the way it goes. We do what we can. David says, I live in North Florida and I just got my first sugarcane plants, 2 yellow canes, excited to plant. Oh, congratulations. That's fantastic. Green Country Agroforestry says, the videos we put the most work into get the fewest views. Go figure. That is true. It's a massive amount of work. Oh, it's hard to be an artist. The algorithms need to catch again. The more you post, the more the algorithms will push your videos, Carolyn says. Yeah, well, I've been trying to post every single day except for Sunday, so... David says, hello from North Florida, I'm David the OK. Hey, David the OK, I'm David the So-So. Coffee black, the way God intended. Yes, I agree. Melissa says, the syrup video you did with Danny and Wanda, that's at Deep South Homestead, if you're not subscribed to their channel, was awesome. I think it was 2 years ago. Y'all entertained me that day. Oh, yes, that was fun. One of my sons, I remember, was just sitting on the live stream and like going back and forth with Danny for hours. It was pretty funny. Ben says the sugarcane video was honestly a beautiful piece of film work. Thank you very much. I was very, very happy with that. I was using a new camera that I got. I don't know if I've talked about this camera. This is a little itty bitty camera, but it's much less intrusive. I can it has a gimbal built into it, but I can just be talking like this to somebody and filming, and it's not like you're sticking a camera up in somebody's face. This is the Osmo Pocket 3. It's an HD camera, has a built-in gimbal, and it's not exceptionally expensive. It's only a third of the price of my my Canon camera that I usually do my cinematography on. So that was an experiment to see how well that camera would do at a documentary, and it did pretty well. It just had some issues with focus seeking occasionally, where the autofocus jumps in and out, and I can turn that off on the Canon, but I have not figured it out on the Osmo. So let's keep going here. Yes, as for the Good Garden store and getting sugarcane from Daisy, she has had it. However, they right now she is on a hiatus. She's got to get some tax information set up or something properly. So it's one of those things where she's not currently able to run the store. It's kind of sad because it was good timing, but everything is coming in at this time of year, and she was really offering all kinds of stuff, and then they basically put the store on hiatus for a little bit. But it happens. All right, let's see where we are here. Coming soon, Children of the Cane from the Twisted Mind of Dav Lamal. That's good. Derek says, I've got an unknown red variety in San Diego yellow sugarcane. I got some of the San Diego yellow. I don't know that it was any different than my green when it actually came out. It looks about the same. That's interesting. I don't actually know what I did with my pieces. I don't know if sugarcane fibers would be suitable for textiles because they tend to break down quickly. I'm gonna lower this stream quality even more. It looks like it's still jerky to me. Let's lower it. Let's go down to like 800 kilobits per second. Let's try that. Let's see if that does it. Spectrum and Verizon Cube work well. Yeah, I had Verizon Cube, and it was so expensive for the amount of data that I got rid of it. It was ridiculous. Like, it would throttle me after 3 or 4 days of using it. I gave up on it. I was very frustrated. It worked really well for a short period of time, and then it would choke the internet way down. I don't know what the deal was. I may not have done it right, but it was expensive. Keys Food Store in Ocala has thick red ones, thickness of my arm. Wow, that's some awesome cane. I'd love to get a piece of that. Somebody down there in Ocala, find some cane for me. That would be super cool. I think the sugarcane fibers just break down. They turn really spongy and fall apart in the garden as they rot. Hey, Carl. No, sugarcane will not grow in zone 2. However, you could probably grow sugar maples there, right? That's what I would do. I would try it in Maryland Zone 7. I don't know if your summers are going to be hot enough, but I would totally try it. Now, that said, if you're in Zone 7, 6, 5, 4, you could probably get away with growing sorghum. If you're in Zones 5, 4, 3, you can get away with growing sugar beets. So where there's a will, there's a way. You can make sugar. This live is sponsored by Osmo. Osmo Pocket 3. Yeah, I should put my Amazon link in there, you know. You gotta buy this thing. I have been using this camera. It's so amazing. Carl says there's a style called Chinese greenhouse that utilizes south-facing structures with very thick, massive walls to thermoregulate. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of thermal mass. Dial-up is best. Yeah, I love dial-up. There's no good service. Carolyn says they make recyclable plates and bowls from sugarcane bagasse. That's cool. That is super cool. Take America Back says, was given a big cocoa tree in 10A, but they don't like below 50 Fahrenheit and can die at 40. Oof. Oh yes, that's totally true. Morningstar Farm. I'm not sure where that is, Carolyn. I only know what dial-up is, ironically. That's all. By the way, guys, I also have the sugarcane planted all around the food forest, and I put up my food forest course over at school. Create a food forest the easy way. So it's my answer to all the complicated permaculture design versions of food forest. This is the anarchist's food forest. And if you want to watch it for free, you can go sign up for a week without paying anything. After that, it still costs like as much as taking a date to McDonald's. So if you want to join, I just dropped the link into the chat. And there's 5 parts in the food forest course, and I have 2 more that are getting close to being finished, and I'll put them up too. But the overview of how to put a food forest together, how to maintain it long term, and then me visiting a 13-year-old food forest and doing some maintenance work, that is all in there, and you can watch it during a free trial if you're interested. I'd love to have you in there. We've got a great community going, and it's much better than interacting with people on YouTube. I like doing these streams, but generally trying to interact with people in the comment section of YouTube, it's like a food fight, and it's not that efficient. So, and I do want to say something too. This is funny. Somebody said somebody was arguing with me. Well, he didn't like that I was a Christian, right? So he was getting on that and saying that religion is this and that and the other thing, and just kind of getting on his own hobby horse. And I told him, like, nicely enough, I'm like, okay, well, this is what I believe, and I'll pray for you, but, you know, let's just, that's enough, you know. And I said I'm gonna have to just block you if this is gonna be a thing that is getting into the gardening thread, you know, and getting on this this kick, and so, you know, somebody else said, oh, you shouldn't block anybody because of free speech. But if you guys knew how bad, well, you probably do, because you've probably seen a lot of videos where nobody moderates the comments section. I totally believe in moderating the comments section. We have had the weirdest, creepiest, grossest, and people that are obsessive, and people that are abusive, people tearing into other commenters, and cursing and blaspheming and everything you can imagine in the comment section. And I don't believe in free speech. I don't believe your speech should be absolutely free. I know it sounds like it's really un-American, right? But if somebody comes into your house and just starts telling the most filthy story and cursing in front of your little children and just going off on some sort of disgusting tirade, you just go, okay, nobody needs to hear that. There's no benefit to that. You gotta go. And you can go on another YouTube channel and do that. But I do have a lot of kids that watch this channel too, so I try to keep it clean and friendly. I don't mind if somebody doesn't believe the same things I do. I mean, that's we have free will. But if you get on a hobby horse about something and just are tearing into it, nah, I'm not gonna do it. So I'll just drop it, right? So we can, I think, be better than that. And if we aren't better than that, I will moderate the comment section. And YouTube has been very useful in that it gives me a list of filters. So if somebody comes in and is using filthy or scatological language, etc., I can put lists of words that can't be on here. So that actually, I get in the trash bin. There's people that have used various disgusting words, right? And they just go directly to the hold and delete bin. So just keep that in mind and try to respect people's space. You don't have to agree with them. You can argue if you want to about gardening techniques or that sort of thing, but try to, you know, don't go cussing anybody out if you can help it. So that's what I try to do. Yeah, so it's free association. If somebody else's free speech is intolerable, there are times. Yeah, you can't use the Z word. You gotta remember that. Thank you, Hugh. That's a reminder. If you use the Z word, you will get banned on this channel. So, Carl says 70% of comments are bots these days. Now, I would not be surprised about that either. So, it's pretty funny. 40 days in the hole. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I remember when our internet came on a you know, like a CD that came in the mail, and you put it in, and you know, and then you got your internet. Amazing. AOL Online. It's pretty funny. So anyhow, guys, if you've got any more questions on sugarcane, drop them in the chat. I've got to go get dinner in a couple of minutes here. So yeah, dead internet theory. I'll tell you what, I could do we should do an entire thread just on the dead internet. It is so hard to find decent gardening information now. I'm gonna do that. We'll talk about internet, the fraud of the internet, and how bad the information is, and how completely off and stupid it is. We'll talk about that in an upcoming stream. We've got to talk about that because information is really getting busted. Now you've got AI stealing from AI, and it's feeding on itself, and everything is becoming more stupid. So, well, we'll talk about that. That'll be fun. That'll be fun. Harvest your sugarcane before it frosts. There's probably an entire landfill filled with AOL discs. They'll probably dig it up, you know, in 1,000 years, and they'll think it was some sort of a cult. That there was this powerful god named All. All wished to be worshipped in every home, and there was a specific chant that was played when All was to be worshipped, and it went like. So, yes. I wonder if one light frost can sweeten cane like it can for some other fruits and vegetables. I wouldn't count on it. It's really tropical. I don't know that it would make it sweeter. It's really sweet from the sun. It is a, I think it's a, what do they call it? A C4 photosynthesizer. A very efficient photosynthesizer. It makes a lot of sugar from sunlight. So, anyhow, here we go. Here we go.
I'm gonna make some biscuits, baby. Gluten can't stop me. I'm gonna dodge my taxes, baby. The man won't rob me. I'm gonna drink some Lysol, baby, to clean my body. I'm rocking out at midnight, baby. Sure, it can't stop me. Ooh. Sugarcane. Sugarcane.
Thank you all for joining me. I'll catch up with you soon. I'm going to be trying to do these streams more regularly, as I said last time. Thank you for the compliments on the new backdrop. This took some work. Many Bothans died to bring us this set. Catch you next time, and until then, may your thumbs always be green.